Braden, of course. Susan, come on up. Sarah, do you want to come? Come on. All right, well, thank you guys all for coming. We have the whole cast up here. We'll open it up for some questions. After party is at Warwick down the street. No pressure. I know it's middle of the week, but you're all welcome. There's food and drinks and everything. I'll just open it up for questions and we can go from there. I know a lot of you have questions. Not all at once.
Darren, how'd you prep for the pool part?
What's that?
How'd you prep for the playing the pool?
Thanks for coming, Aaron. I appreciate you. How did I prep for pool? Okay, so I had two pool coaches, Steve Sherman and Spencer Ladd. And Steve and I worked together 3 days a week, 3 hours a day for 3 months. It was something. And the first day of like practice or whatever, I got there and he's like, all right, just let me see what you do. Let me see like how your stance is, da 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 da. And so I'm taking a few shots and he asked me a question. He says, are you left-handed and everything? And I thought that was a weird question for the first thing for him to ask me. And I said, I don't do anything left-handed. He goes, you play pool left-handed. And I didn't even know that. So it was great. Where is Steve? Steve, put your hand up. Steve's here. Steve, stand up. An amazing coach. And where's Spencer? Gladden? Spencer, Spencer's all the way in the back. He's like a top 40 player in the world. So it was really cool to have him on set. So thanks for the question.
Darren worked really hard at that. I mean, the first time we played, I was a little bit worried about the movie. And by the time he got on set, we knew exactly what he was doing. It was amazing work.
Max, do you have a question? What's that?
Are you still playing?
Okay, yeah, well, it's here and there. Yo.
How did you come across the script and what treated the project?
Great question. You know what, and I'll let Will and, and John, the producers, who I couldn't have done this without, answer that, but I had an idea. I had some writers, Spencer and Deke, who are here, who wrote an awesome script. Will, and John read it, they loved it. They wanted to come on, they introduced me to Will, and
We had our first conversation. I was on a road trip. I was in Nebraska 2 years, 6 months ago, almost to the day. It was the first time I talked to you, and now here we are. Pretty crazy. Yeah.
Go ahead, Casey.
What was the most rewarding part about working with the cast?
I think just forming relationships. So half this cast I knew before. I knew Sarah. I did not know Caleb actually. I knew Victor, and I worked with Wendy 5 years ago on a project. And working with people that you've worked with before, there's a comfortability there. And Victor and I have been knowing each other for a little bit now. Go ahead, Victor.
We met playing basketball, and Darren kicked my ass a couple times. Who is this guy? And anyway, so we formed a relationship, and after the basketball, we kind of kicked it, and we were just talking about, oh, what do you do? What do you do? And then he was working on this, but I didn't know what this project was, and it was funny. He's Darren had no idea. He was like, I didn't even know you were an actor. And I was like, well, I'm an actor. And so when the project was coming around, they originally for Draper, they were looking for. There were some other actors, some other options that they wanted to explore, and so Darren came up to me. He's like, "Hey, I got this other small role, and if you are cool with it, it's only a day, just as a favor." And I was like, "Of course, man! We had such a great rapport." And so anyway, long story short, it all worked out because Darren and Will, the guy didn't end up fizzling out. They just didn't work out. So I had already committed to doing like a day on the project, and I was like, yeah. And so they were like, then Darren and Will were like, well, what about Victor? We should get him to play Draper. And I was like, they called me and I was like, they were like, hey, you know the script? He was like, you know the Draper? I was like, yeah, what'd you guys get? He was like, yeah, we haven't got anybody, but we want to see if you're interested. I'm like, are you sure, dude? I don't know if I'm right for this, man. Like, I remember like being like, I don't know if I'm the right guy for this. And I remember Will, our director, a fantastic director, he was like, no, man, I feel like you're right for this. And Darren was like, yeah. So I was like, okay. So I said yes, and then we did some rehearsals at my house. And then when we did the rehearsals, we did the car scene where we were like kind of hanging out. There's pictures. I remember you took some pictures of us. And I was kind of like, I was so not prepared to play Draper. I was like, you know, driving, I'm like looking at the script like, oh shit, I don't know any of these fucking lines. Like, this is really like new to me, right? So I'm doing this, and I'm like, okay, yeah. And then I'm doing the scene with Darren, but then I started seeing that we kind of had a nice bounce back because of our time playing basketball and like hanging out. So that's kind of how that happened.
To piggyback off that, our fabulous casting director, Jeff Gaffner.
Jeff, yes, sorry, Jeff.
Big shout out.
Jeff Campaign, my dude.
I called Jeff.
Instrumental.
I go, Jeff, my buddy, he's gonna come just play this little role for a day. And he's like, who? I'm like, Victor Rassuk. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, Victor. He's like, no, is that like a joke? He's like, Victor doesn't do that. And I'm like, no, he's my boy. He said he'd do it. He's like, bro, he should be playing Draper. Like, he's better than any option by far. And I'm like, I didn't even think of that. And, you know, yeah, just like, dude, he like leads Netflix shows. I'm like, I don't watch.
So the way that you presented him, he's like, my buddy should do it. And I'm a fan of yours from a bunch of stuff. And I was like, what do you mean your friend should be this part in the thing? I didn't put it together who you were until we talked about it.
Yeah. It all worked out. That's how I came to
Boom.
First of all, great job, Darren, very proud of yourself. Remember how I got his name Draper?
So, hold on. First of all, my buddy Kevin Denhall, Boomer. Boom, stand up real quick. So real quick, this man, he's the best, okay? He was in the movie, he played the junkyard boss, and I call him, Will, we go to Detroit to shoot, and he goes, you know, do you have like anyone that like isn't an actor that like is a little rough around the edges, that like could do this role? I don't want an actor, I want someone real. And I go, I got a guy. And I call him, and you know, I send him a couple of the lines, and he's like, all right, I'm doing this 100%. So we're shooting, mind you, in like Southwest Detroit, which is one of the 2 or 3 like most dangerous places in the country. And we go to this junkyard, and everyone that works there is like carrying guns, and like I didn't know what we were getting into. And he comes down and he gets out of his truck, he takes the day off work. This guy's the CEO of like 8 different companies, and he didn't complain once. And he gets out of the car, and you know, at first he thought it was a joke. He's like, we're shooting in Southwest Detroit? I'm like, yeah. He's like, So he gets out of the car, you know, he's strapped, and he looks around, he closes the door, and he goes, cockroaches don't come down here. And you know what, he was great, and he didn't complain once, and I told him, I said, I don't care what your lines are on the page. I said, you're my boss, just whatever you think works, say whatever you want. I don't care what the lines on the page say. And he was great, and can't wait to get him in the next one. So, how did we get the name Draper? So, piggybacking off that, Kevin and I work out in Detroit together with a group of like a lot of professional athletes, a lot of Red Wings and Pistons and whatever. One of the guys, Chris Draper, he is like a Detroit legend, played 20 years in the NHL, 2 gold medals, 4 Stanley Cups, 1,200 games, like a Detroit legend, like very good. We work out with him, and he's sort of like the leader of the workout group, and we just got the name Draper, sort of like the Draper sort of remind me of Draper from the workout, and then I called Chris Draper and got him on the phone with Draper, and it was cool. So, yeah. Yeah, please. We got a couple in the back. Ethan?
What was your workout routine like?
Right
like really skinny.
Yeah. Character actor. I saw some other questions in the back. Go ahead. I can't see who that is, but yeah. Yeah.
Great job, guys. Quick question. How long did it take to shoot? And what was the craziest thing that happened on set? And how did you guys cook up?
Anyone wanna?
We shot for.
I want other people to talk.
Okay, I'm gonna start with my favorite story on set. So, a lot of those, or at least the pool hall scenes that I'm in, were shot extremely late at night. Those were night shoots, so we were shooting like 1, 2 a.m. And we are all delirious. And Victor's over here with the deed in the like very serious scene as they're betting their lives away. And he goes, "What's the name of the pool hall again?" Loving Crutch, Much, like he goes Bunch, like he goes through everything but Loving Touch. And then, I'm sorry, I'm about to expose you so hard. He goes over and he whispers in my ear, he goes, "I'm gonna make you all laugh." And I was like, okay, I don't know what he's talking about. And then he goes, and they're like, "All right, action." And he just rips it. So, that was my favorite memory on set.
It was just too serious, man. I had to lighten it up. Make sure everybody was awake.
You did. I was up and ready to go.
Do we have any? I want to get Jeff and Wendy and Susan and Sarah and Rick involved. Any questions? You know, they all have great parts. Any questions for them?
Shout out Sarah, she did some of the music.
Yeah, 3 of Sarah's in the movie. Sarah's in the movie as well. 3 of her songs in the movie. Beautiful music. Can't wait for the next one. I saw a hand in the back. Yeah.
It was so amazing. You all should be so proud. Another Duke and buddy of Darren, so I don't know what's in store for you next. For anybody and everybody after going through that process, what's the one takeaway you should take into your next project?
Wendy, Jeff.
You know, I'd love to respond to that. Walking onto this set, I just have to thank not only Darren, but Will and Bo and John, because the energy on a set, it comes from the top down, right? And so yeah, let's give them an applause. And I've been on a lot of sets, and this was like, it was like what you see, you know? And some of us are just meeting each other for the first time. Like, I didn't have any scenes with Victor, Jeff, you guys, there's so many amazing actors, but the people I did work with, it was just a warmth and a generosity just right out of the gate, and you just felt at home. So that the theme of the film definitely trickled down on the set from day one.
Jeff, did you want to add something?
Yeah, what she said. No, man, it was just you two guys and the producers. It was such a beautiful, warm set to be on, and I Will had our back the whole way, and you know you could just go to him and go like, "Did I screw that up?" And he'd say, "Yeah, try it this way," and it would work. And it was it was great working with y'all, really.
I'll take like maybe 2 or 3 more. Yes.
I just have to say, I thought it was very well cast. Jeff, Wendy, you guys were amazing. You could actually be mother or son, but not an age group. I mean, you're beautiful. No question, just a comment that you very well cast.
Thank you.
That's Jeff.
I was going for the warm look.
Thanks, Jeff Gaffner, for that. Paul?
First, great job, everyone. It really was well cast. Everything, music, lighting, everything. And just one question. When's break 2?
Soon. Coming soon. Max?
So I happened to notice you got with the new woman throughout the movie. I was wondering if we could get a little more detail on what it's like to shoot a kissing scene with Darren.
That's one of my close friends, so he said he was going to embarrass me, so I apologize.
Fantastic. I love you for that. Honestly, when you're working with someone like Darren, it makes it really easy because he is genuinely one of the nicest, kindest, hardworking, fantastic people I've ever met.
Thank you.
So yeah, kissing him was fun, man. Take that, embarrassment.
I agree, I also kissed him when they cut that scene.
Yeah, we kissed today too. Natalie?
The choreography of the scenes, like sort of the guys were pool hall, did you actually have some choreographed or was it all sort of improv?
A bunch of that was choreographed. We had a rather complex plan going into this. A lot of it was also shot later. We did pickups in LA with Darren maybe 2 months after that was filmed. And then an amazing editor, Daniel Gibb, put it all together.
Do we have any more questions? Yes.
Dad.
Need a seatbelt for this question.
It's really not a question, you know. Darren, come to LA and really work his ass off and try and make it in this business. And one day he said, I'm tired of going and getting rejections. He says, I'm gonna do this myself. And it's Darren's charisma that brought this great cast together, brought a great crew together. They produced a movie that looks like a $10 million movie for 1/10 of that. And I just want to say how proud I am to have a kid that was able to do that, say I'm going to do it and get it done. I'm very
Susan, Rick?
I just wanted to say thank you. This is my first feature film and my first premiere.
And Rick?
No, I'd just like to say thank you for the opportunity of working on this set. It was so easy to work with you all, and it was just so, it's nice when as an actor, when you feel like you're trusted to do what you do. And Will, Darren, you guys gave me that permission. And I've been doing this a long time, and it always feels like the first time. And this was a really good first time.
Also, we have Dylan Ostrom. Dylan, if you want to raise your hand, Dylan was in the cast. Steve Harris is in the cast. Steve, where are you?
There's a lot of people here that worked on this and worked really hard, and like I am so grateful for everybody here, especially up here and down there. And we're surrounded by friends getting to watch this. It's not something we get to do very often, so it's awesome.
All right, see you all in Warwick.